Bring you up to speed, I am mentoring my assistant who's an interior design student. I design a client's room, I give the same one to her as practice. We compare and see how she could have done better. It's been a wonderful learning experience for her, and she's totally fine with me posting more. So I have another client for us that we both did. This client hired me to design her formal living room and formal dining room. They are adjacent to each other, so she wants them to look cohesive. Started with the dining room, and I handed my assistant the information. That includes the client's inspiration pictures. They like the drama, but they don't want the room to feel like a cave. They can't wait to get rid of this color palette, but they do want to keep their back wine cabinet, which is this one from Pottery Barn. They also weren't sure if they should paint the wood trim, as it would be very costly because it runs through the whole house. This is my assistant's redesigned room. My first thoughts is that she did such a good job with the drama and contrast. She chose to paint or refinish this back cabinet, probably because it wasn't showing up against the wall. And we have very modern white dining chairs and modern art. The color cohesion is great, however, it doesn't take into account the wood trim, which is looking a little orange against this cool palette. And we don't have a whole lot of interest because our color palette is so neutral and small. I usually don't do mirrors as art in spaces like this. Yes, it can reflect light, but it does not do anything for our color palette or interest of the room because it's just reflecting the room, which in turn does not help take the positive space off a wall that I'm looking for because it's just reflecting the room. Art can take us much farther when we're looking to fill positive space and add color and interest. Now for my version. I chose my color palette based off her inspiration images, like this one and this one. They had a more natural feel but still dramatic. I brought in gold to my palette to match the flooring and the trim. I love to embrace what you can't change, and we can do that by putting that color in our palette. So the honey oak trim actually works for us to disperse our color palette around the room. We see wood tone, wood tone, wood tone, making all of this seem super intentional. This rug reminded me so much of the wallpapered ceiling in the inspo image, and wallpapering the ceiling would make the room very dark, which was a concern of theirs. Other than adding green and gold, my color palette isn't much different than my assistant, but it's the way I'm using the color in the room to make it look more interesting. The green chairs are going to drag our eye back to this green wall. I also use plants as my green all the way around the room. I chose the black table to be the most black in the room and have that be sprinkled in the room as well. So my brain and eyes are able to travel the room around and up and down with this color palette. Scale is also important in this room. I have really large sconces and a really large chandelier. This will help take more positive space of the room as well as our big piece of art. This one piece of art is adding more interest to the room, taking away a whole lot of negative space, and it is tying together a whole color palette. A lot of you asked me if I learned from my assistant, and absolutely she helped me find this table and those curtains, helping this client love their new dining room. And the living room will be part 2.